All right, everybody. I am here with Tyler Burnett. We're going to talk today about Lawn Pride, one of the brands under the Neighborly umbrella. So thanks, Tyler.
Lisa, thanks for having me. Excited to be here today.
I'm excited too. This is one of those brands that I feel I don't know as much about, and so I'm super excited to talk to you. CC is raving about it after just your franchise speed dating call. So as those of you who are watching know, we are going to dive a little bit deeper with the brand than CC does with her franchise speed dating. We're going to try to get more of owner day in the life, a little bit more around the investment, the marketing, and of course some hot seat questions. So let's get into it. Lawn Pride is one of the newer brands in the Neighborly umbrella, right? So tell us kind of what you do and customers that you serve.
And it doesn't surprise me at all to hear that you're less familiar with Lawn Pride, Lisa. It is the only emerging brand that's a part of the Neighborly portfolio. There's a very specific reason for that, and that's not to say the brand isn't well established. So I'll explain. Neighborly is always looking to expand into home service markets and create additional franchise concepts. Now, typically when we do that, we identify a successful emerging franchise concept that we feel fits a need that is a niche in home services, and we'll acquire them and then utilize Neighborly's expertise in franchising to really accelerate their growth. When we decided we wanted to get into the lawn care space, though, what we decided was to take a completely different approach and franchise from the ground up. So instead, we went out and identified the best standalone business that we could in the industry, and that was Lawn Pride in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Lawn Pride in Indianapolis, been in business over 40 years, services over 20,000 customers. We acquired them in 2022 and then just spent a year learning their processes and integrating those with our franchise processes at Neighborly. Started franchising in 2023 with 5 existing Neighborly owners and then expanded franchise ownership opportunities in 2024. About 35 locations right now, about 20 owners in the system. We're uniquely positioned because it's one of the few Neighborly brands with a lot of available white space.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For those of you that are watching, Neighborly is kind of my Goliath, right? You're like, okay, if you want to be really good at home services and really good at support, they're going to see this in other videos. But I feel like when I'm introduced candidates to Neighborly, I'm more like, okay, Neighborly, now you go take care of them with the same care that I have given them. It always just feels like you guys, you're very family familial. Is that a word?
Yes.
How you take care of people and your franchisees. So it's exciting in a way to see something with a little bit more elbow room. So thank you. So talk to me like what you're not cutting lawns because that's ground guy's job, right? So talk to me like what are you guys doing for the customers? What's the service?
So we're laser focused on making the grass green and beautiful. So what that creates is a reoccurring revenue model where we go out to each customer's home on average 7 to 12 times a year, and we're applying treatments to their lawn. So no cutting or no trimming. It's primarily fertilization and weed control. And then we have other opportunities for additional services like rub and pest control for the turf itself, aeration services, tree and shrub care. Those are things that our owners tend to add on as they go throughout the year. Fertilization and weed control is the primary component of the business.
Very cool. So I love the recurring revenue. My business hat goes to, okay, recurring revenue, make that customer happy, ease of services. So talk a little bit about how you help the owners acquire those customers. I think my assumption is you're probably stealing them from another business that, may not be doing as good of a job, but talk to me a little bit about Neighborly's support around helping those new business owners get those customers to start servicing.
There's so much nuance to that question. We could do a really deep dive here on competition and how we go about securing those customers. I'll try to hit the highlights. The power of Neighborly. We have 19 brands in the US. When we go to launch a new Lawn Pride, we're going to start by cross-marketing to existing customer bases within our other brand. We know their potential customer. We see marketing at 3 levels. You've got national brand awareness, you have direct marketing or marketing for specific businesses in their territory, and then you have what's called the ground game where, all right, what are our owners and their employees doing in addition to those efforts? We have built-in teams of experts that work for Lawn Pride and Neighborly that help our owners create marketing plans, because in most cases with home services, customer acquisition is first marketing driven and then referral based. So imagine the power of a network where you've got incredible name recognition across these 19 brands. You have a network of existing owners to plug your new owner in with. They can create referral programs from brand to brand, and we're marketing to existing customer bases. On top of that, in home services, and we discuss this all the time in our business space, is there are really 2 players. You've got large corporate entities that are nationwide that are not locally owned and operated. And then you have kind of the standalone mom and pops in the area. Where we really feel is we bring a balance to that. Local ownership with a national brand name. So that brings the strength of really well-developed processes, an incredible customer service journey and experience, best in industry product and application processes, but at the same time, the feel of local ownership. Honestly, as we look around the country, those mom and pop businesses, very good at what they do technically, they tend to struggle on the business aspect of things. Opposite problem with those national brand names. You know, they have processes down, but they have no heart and soul locally there. And so we fit right in. And if we're creating those frictionless customer service experiences and creating raving fans from our customers, and they're willing to refer their friends and family, that's how we build up a business and maintain a business.
Now, this is also one of the few brands within the Neighborly umbrella that an owner doesn't necessarily need to work 40 to 60 hours a week. They're not the ones out rolling the lawns and spraying the whatever, right? So talk a little bit about what the executive ownership model looks like in this.
That's really the type of owner we're looking for this model. We're looking for people who want to scale and grow a business to significance. And it's challenging to do that as an owner operator, right? If you're not working on the business because you're constantly in the day-to-day, it's a lot harder to scale that business. Our primary goal is to find individuals who want to hire a service professional to take care of those deliverables. And then they want to focus on building and growing and mentoring that team, working with the franchise business coach, working with the marketing coach, developing a plan, setting goals, tracking to those goals, utilizing our systems and processes, being the face of the business in their community in the sense that it gives that local ownership just feel to it, right? But a lot of times that can be done in 20 hours a week, you know, as you're launching the business. And then as you develop and get your team in place, there's the potential there to have an even more semi-absentee role. Of course, that depends on how well developed your team is and how well you're growing that business. But some of the tools we have in place that allow for that is like our national call center. That's part of our corporate headquarters at Lawn Pride in Indianapolis, takes every incoming customer call that's a response to a territory check. And because of our software and tools, our service providers are able to, when they take that call in the call center, pull up the customer's property, map out the work they need done, quote, sell, and schedule that all on behalf of our owners, and then send that job out.
If you missed that, if you're watching this video, like now's the time to wake up a little bit because that's huge. Yes. You just said that a call center that's US based, that works, is the brand, doesn't just represent and say, oh, okay, I'll put you in touch with the owner. They say, oh, hey, Jim, looks like you're at blah, 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 Green Willow Court, this much space. We can be out there on Wednesday. It's going to cost you about this much money. How's that sound to you, Jim? Sounds good. And then local service, local technician goes out and delivers the service, but the owner isn't knocking on, banging on doors, trying to answer his phone. They all come in at the same time, right? 5:05
always.
Friday. So,
always.
Very cool. That's huge. That's huge, huge,
yes.
huge. I got to remember that one for people that I work with. So let's talk about the seasonality. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. Started in Indianapolis. I'm guessing they still have snow, right? Or they have cold seasons where stuff's not growing, right? So talk to me a little bit about how the businesses would work in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, so there is a seasonal aspect to the business, and that's not something that we shy away from. There are a multitude of ways to approach that. Usually when people bring up concerns about seasonality, it's one of two things. They're excited about the prospect of being able to work really hard for, 8, 9, 10 months out of the year and then have a couple of months to regroup and reset for the next year. Maybe take a vacation or spend some time with family. Or they're worried, can I generate enough revenue with a seasonal business to build something of significance? Lawn Pride is not the only seasonally based business in the Neighborly portfolio. And what we've seen is not only can you build a successful business with seasonality in it, but it's an extremely powerful model. And this is something we see in other industries all the time. Dairy Queen sells a lot more ice cream when the weather's warm than they do when the weather's cold, right? That's part of what our business coaches help you balance out and plan and budget for. But you absolutely can build a very, very successful business and enjoy the seasonal aspects of it. And then if you want to choose to take on another project around that seasonality, you're free to do that.
Christmas lights or plowing snow and
Sure.
Sure. Truly take December off. Your wife will love you.
Yeah, exactly.
We need help. So, not that it's just male owners. But okay, let's talk a little bit about the investment. Not a huge investment in this business. You don't have brick and mortar, you don't have that big nut to cover. For those of you that are watching, in the FDD, item 7 talks about total investment to get into the business, includes your franchise fee, includes equipment and other computers, office chairs, I always say tomatoes on the burger, everything you need to start the business, but then also working capital. So when we talk about this in this deep dive, we want to talk about that total item 7, but then also, Tyler, help us understand where those larger amounts are going to. I have to assume franchise fee because Neighborly, all of that support is Neighborly, right? So, but talk about what else happens with that item 7.
Yeah, so our item 7 shows initial startup costs ranging from about $150,000 to $250,000 for a single territory new business startup. That does include the franchise fee. Typically, when we build out a territory, we're looking for between 45,000 and 70,000 single-family homes with a minimum annual income of 100,000 or more. Franchise fee is based off of 89 cents per qualified household in your territory. So there's a range. If you had about 45,000 households, it'd be about $40,000. If you had 70,000, it'd be about $62,000. Military veterans are eligible for a 20% discount off of that. Neighborly loves working with military veterans. They make great franchise owners. So that's just a side note.
Usually you come up with my veterans, right? So it's just success breeds success. So like, hey, there's other veterans doing well. So, okay.
That's
good. Talk then a little bit about the return. So again, I'll side note this out. So brands will have in that item 7 expenses, in the item 19 history of return in the business, usually gross revenue, some sort of other details broken down. I admit I haven't looked at the Lawn Pride one, so tell me a little bit about what we're going to see in the item 19 there.
Yeah, well, we're really excited about our item 19 this year because it's the first year we've been able to do any reporting from our franchise locations because they're all only, the oldest ones are 2 years old, right?
Okay, so that's awesome. That's a good number then. Okay.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So what I can share is average gross revenue per customer, and I think this allows you to really see the power of this business in the recurring revenue model. On average, our franchise locations last year, each individual residential customer generated over $650 of gross revenue for the year, and our commercial customers generated over $1,200 of gross revenue for the year. So when you think about a potential pool of, I'll say 50,000 potential customers in a territory, and you think, all right, what kind of penetration can I get in that market? Well, even if it's as low as 5%, and they're all residential customers, and you have 2,500 customers generating $650 worth of gross revenue on an annual basis, that's a significant business. So we're really excited about those numbers. Obviously, we have no idea yet what the best owners are going to be able to accomplish in our system because they're just getting started. And so we're really excited for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years to see someone maximize a territory and expand and grow a business to maturity.
Hot seat question. There's always questions that I try to get in these deep dive videos that maybe are buzzing around in the back of the viewers' minds, but nobody wants to ask it because it's all unicorns jumping over rainbows in our world, right? So I think for this one, we addressed the seasonality question. My other question would be the competition. There's probably someone doing this in your market. This isn't some brand new service that's coming in. So how am I going to get around that when I'm talking to candidates and they say, well, at least we've got 16 guys out here spraying weeds? What do I say?
Yeah. Well, I always ask people that I'm working with, do you use a lawn service yourself currently? And most of the time the answer is, yes, I do. I say, what has your experience been like with them? Most people do not have an incredible customer service experience to share with me. Half the time we're having this conversation because they're very unhappy with their current lawn service for a variety of reasons. If it's a national brand, a lot of times they say, hey, they brought me a really low offer to get it in the door and then they just jack the price up on me and there's no one I can talk to and I don't even know if the guy's there. He's on and off my property in 5 minutes and they're really unhappy with that aspect.
Right.
Sometimes they've got a great local provider, but they don't know when they're going to show up. They don't communicate. They don't know when they're going to get a bill, whether it's for 1 month or the last 4 months. And it just drives people crazy. We hit that spot for people where incredible customer service experience, frictionless customer service experience, the systems that ensure that they're being notified before we come out. We're billing their credit card after a service. We're communicating well with them. And it hits that sweet spot of, all right, I want to set and forget this service, but at the same time, I want you to communicate with me about what's going on.
Right? Right.
And so that's where we end up developing our customer bases with people who go, I have tried everything and I'm just so tired of this experience. I want something that's going to meet these needs.
Very good. Well, Tyler, thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully this sparked something in you. And if you're interested in learning more, you can, click below, send the carrier pigeon, shoot me an email. I'm everywhere, and we'll get you in touch with Tyler. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for watching. If you're ready to take the next step, Integrity Franchise Group is here to help. Click the link below or reach out to us today to schedule an appointment. Let's work together to solve that franchise puzzle and turn your business dreams into reality. We cannot wait to connect with you.